Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, something a bit more off the cuff. I don't actually have a script this time, so I'm sorry if I stumble and stutter and it's kind of all over the place, but I wanted to try something new with the channel. Today I'm going to be attempting to show you my sketch process, so you can put this video on in the background if you just want to listen to me talk about my sketch process, or you can draw along with me, or whatever you want to do, you can go ahead and do, but let's jump right on into this. So first things first, I started out doing some thumbnails. I typically don't do thumbnails in my work, but I had a few different concepts for this piece that I'm doing, so I decided to test out all of my ideas before settling on one. This piece is a collab with me and my friend Trot. It's our horse characters, our horse sonas, if you will. And, you know, we just wanted to do something light and fun. So the first concept sketch that I came up with was us just kind of laying together on the ground or the floor or whatever, you know, and me telling her some kind of story and her laughing. And the second sketch, same kind of general concept. I wanted to keep it with me telling her a joke and her laughing, so that was the beanbag sketch. The third sketch that I did was me kind of leaning over the top bunk down to her bottom bunk and making a funny face or saying a fun joke or whatever. Because we've talked about kind of being able to do that before. It's something we've always thought was a cute idea, just hanging out as friends and stuff. The fourth thumbnail that I did is kind of a representation of how I feel our Discord calls normally go. Like, I sit at my desk and I'm drawing something or whatever, and she's, you know, sitting with her earbuds in on her phone in bed or whatever, and she's just laughing as I'm saying stupid shit while I draw or whatever, you know. The fifth thumbnail that I did was fully self-indulgent. It is just us, and she is pushing me around in a shopping cart because that has chaotic energy, and I love that for us because we are very chaotic together. And the final sketch that I did, I'm not super proud of. I was really running low on steam and low on ideas, but it's me and my like 80s 90s vibes get up and her in a cowboy outfit and us just kind of high-fiving. So after I was done thumbnailing, I had to send it over to her and ask her for her opinion. Now, I had a favorite, okay? It's this one right here. This one was my favorite, okay? But I wanted to get her opinion on it, and I sent it over to her. I'm like, hey, what do you think of these? And she's like, wow, solid. I agree with your favorite. And I was like, sick, thanks. So I returned to a new canvas, and I basically took my thumbnail and I enlarged it. And I started doing actually, before I did a full second pass, I actually got the bed frame and the mattresses and like everything a part of the bunk bed set up first. As you can see, this process is just a lot of like copying and pasting and making sure proportions look right, and I fiddle with this a lot while I'm going through this process just because I forgot how proportions work because I'm actually brain damaged. But I think it ends up looking really, really nice. But yeah, this bunk bed that I'm making right now on screen is actually inspired by a bunk bed that is at my family's cabin, lake cabin. I don't like going up there very often, but I have a lot of fond memories of like hanging out with my cousins in this bunk bed and kind of vibing with them and talking about stupid crap. So I figured it would be kind of a nice touch to just model the bed after that classic bunk bed to me, you know, just for funsies. As you can see here, I'm still, you know, fucking around with the proportions of everything because proportions are hard. I don't normally do stuff like this, so this was really out of my comfort zone. But you know what? I think that's a good tip for anybody who's struggling and feeling like they're in an art rut. Try and draw something that you don't normally draw, because it will, like, break you. You will have to, you know, step out of your comfort zone a lot to draw it. So that's kind of, this is me stepping out of my comfort zone to draw, you know, a bed. And then also a character upside down at this angle, which you'll see later. I also struggle with that a lot, and we'll talk about that more when I get there. But finally, after the bed gets done, I ended up starting on the characters. Now, the characters had a few different passes. So there's the original thumbnail pass of just general shapes. Then for each of these characters, I do 2 sketch layers. One is to block out further shapes. The second is to make those shapes even clearer. And the third pass through that I go over is actually the final one. Because, actually, I think there's 3. There might just be 2. Oh god, why can't I remember now? I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that I go through several times to clean everything up and make sure all the details look clear. I don't normally go through this in my sketch process. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But since I was handing this off to another person, you know, Trot, in this scenario, since this is a collab between the 2 of us, I wanted to make sure that all the details were as clear as possible. So here I am currently doing my blocking out kind of technique. I'm adding some accessories in the form of pillows to the bed to make it look more lived in. But yeah, here's I think this is just my first pass over, me quietly waiting for the video to get far enough to see if I'm correct or not. I think I am. Also, I just might be a crackhead. Yeah, I think I do. But yeah, so I do a second pass over this. Can you tell that this is unscripted? But I do a second pass over this. Make sure I have all the details in. You can tell, actually, in the original blocking out, I actually left out all of the accessories on Trot's character. That was because I told myself, I don't want to fucking do those goggles. I don't know why I had that mentality exactly. I just really didn't want to fuck around with that. I ended up doing it anyways because it'd be unfair to draw my accessories and not, you know, hers. So I muscled through it, got them drawn. I think they look really good. I struggle with them a little bit, but I think they look really good. Oh, another thing I want to mention is if you take a look at the screen right now, you can see in the mouth how the line width is different than everything else. It's because, you know, I wanted to make sure those details were clear. I find that's a helpful tip for me when I'm, you know, struggling with making details clear in certain designs. I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it, okay? Sometimes line width good. Other times, all line widths the same. Ooga booga, you know? Also, we don't talk about how flat the hair is right now. I realize it eventually here in a moment, and I end up puffing it up because right now it looks like the hair is limp and dead, and we don't vibe with that. So a helpful tip that helps me when I'm sketching stuff and getting concepts on paper is to do multiple passes, like I said, but also to essentially have references up. Now, I didn't use any references for this piece, but I also thought that it was worth mentioning that I do sometimes indeed use references, and there's nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to that kind of stuff. I've heard a lot of really like shit takes from some artists who are like, I don't need no references, you don't need no references, and I'm like, champ, I think you should try references again, because it's just some things that can be improved upon, but I don't know, I'm just stupid. So one thing I really want to say is that I definitely struggled a lot with the limbs in this piece, like the legs and the arms and keeping everything proportional. And there'll be several times in this piece where you'll see me grab like just the head or just the legs or arms or different parts of the body and adjusting them to actually fit proportions. It's one of the biggest things I struggle with artistically, keeping everything proportional. I normally have to, you know, go over several passes before I'm able to get something that looks cohesive. Oh yeah, and here's me adding in a wing last second because I sent the sketch to Trot and Trot was like, yo, can you put my wing in there? And I was like, champ, it's on the other side. And she was like, can you do it anyways? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I put it in there. I think it looks good. I don't think it takes away from the piece. But yeah. So now we're finally getting on to the other character of this piece. That would be me. Now this was really complicated for me. There was a lot of parts in this that I didn't know exactly how to draw. In fact, you'll see here in a second that I abandoned my original concept to attempt to do something easier. I ultimately decided that's a bad idea, but you know, you'll see as we get along to it. Also, sorry if the camera keeps flipping rapidly. I had to spin this canvas a lot to kind of get the angle that I was going for. So as you can see here, the idea is kind of like the back legs and the wings are supporting me for the most part and keeping me on the top bunk. But I wanted the original vibe to be like kind of grabbing onto that base where the mattress sits. See, here's where I kind of abandoned that for a moment and I put the hooves out, and then I'm like, I come back to this later and I'm like, I really should just go back to what I originally had because it looked better anyways. Here's that funny face I was talking about. There's a lot of things I struggle with this. In fact, as I said earlier, I struggle with proportions a lot. You can see here as I go down the body that the head is tiny. Like, compared to everything else, the head is just super small. And I typically tend to keep everything around the same size. There's nothing wrong with having exaggerated proportions like small heads or big heads or anything like that. In my personal style, I like to keep things all like one kind of medium size. So I play around with the kind of sizes of everything. The one thing that did bother me and still kind of does is that I was worried that I wasn't making my character look short because I'm a short person. And I, like that in my characters. So I had to, worry about that as well. But I think I did a good job of making me still look short. By like kind of shrinking the torso and hiding it with the jacket that gets added in a minute here. I finally figured out how to do the arms. It was a little awkward, especially with the angle that my character is kind of like leaning down at, but I think I made it look really good. You'll start to see me go through the hair process in which I go through several different ideas and several different passes. At one point, I draw the hair normally and flip it upside down, and it looks bad. I figured, oh, well, that makes sense if I just draw it normally and then flip it upside down because he's upside down. That would work, right? Nope. It looks wrong. It looks like he has a little afro puff, and that's just not his hairstyle at all. So I end up getting rid of all of the hair, and I'm like, psych, you thought I was gonna do the hair? Nope, it's jacket time. So I go, just to give myself a break, I switch to the jacket. Really like the way the jacket came out. It fits really well on the body. I think I did a really good job of kind of, making it fit on the character and still look good. Added a detail to the tail. Now I'm finally acknowledging I had to go back to the hair, so I tried a new strategy, and this is the one I ultimately ended up going with. I kind of put some hair in the front because I think I was struggling with the fact that the cheek in the front was so visible. So I threw some hair there because there's hair there anyways. I actually also struggled a lot with kind of where the hair stopped hanging. It didn't seem right to do the blocky shapes like he normally has, so I ended up going with more of a flowy point, if that makes any sense. I don't think it sacrificed anything about the character design, but it certainly wasn't in the original plans. But I finally get a shape that I'm happy with, and then I start playing with the longer parts of my character's hair that are in the front, which dangle a lot lower than the rest of the hair, which also threw me off for a little bit because then it looked like horns with the lack of color. But I'm sure that when I hand this over to Trot and she gets this all rendered, it'll look beautiful. I have the utmost faith in her. Here you can see me fucking up my wings 17,000 times and then slapping them onto my back like no big deal. And then, with that, we're basically done. There was a few last minute details that I really wanted to add just to add some more character to the picture. As well as, I added a little detail in there where I made my eye just a slightly different color to help differentiate for when I pass the sketch along to Trot so that she knows that that's an eye and not part of the hair. Yeah, so this is where I go into adding a few more extra details just to fill in the room a little more. I add a hat to the side. I add, well, not the side, the bed post or whatever. I add a hat there, which, depending on how Trot renders that, I was thinking it was very reminiscent of the original hat that my mascot used to wear, but it could also be like her other character's hat. I don't know. We'll see. But I liked that. And then I played around with putting some plushies on my my side top, whatever, my portion of the bed. I did end up doing the whale plushie, but I have to make it a little smaller, which I think I'm doing right about now. I had some pillows there on the opposite end just to fill in that blank space. Yeah, we got the whale plushie, and then just for hello, cat, in front of my microphone. And then next to the whale plushie, we got cannibal. No. Next to the whale plushie, we have an Among Us plushie just for, you know, some spice. Love that. I have an Among Us plushie, so figured it'd be nice. Yeah, that's kind of my process. I'll try and think of other things to say about it. Maybe I'll clip them in during the more quiet parts of the video. But yeah, that's how I do my sketches. I hope this was helpful to some of you, and if you have any questions, just leave them for me down in the comments below, or you can join my Discord server, link in the description, and you can ask me in basically any chat there and I'll answer. Or you can hit me up on Twitter, at Wooden-Wren̶o, or on Instagram, even though I don't use Instagram, at HexPepperoni. Make sure to give me a follow, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, a big shout out to @SpaceSamurai on Instagram, or on my server known as eMello, for drawing this absolutely adorable fan art of Wallace. He's playing Subway Surfers, and I think that's rad. If you would like to see your fan art featured at the end of one of my videos, please head over to my Discord server in my fan art submissions tab, or you can @ me on Twitter if you draw something there, and then I'll just take your handle and put it in the description or whatever. Anyways, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, ring the bell if you want to be notified if I upload, or when I stream, for that matter. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye.